had an exceedingly normal childhood, loving family, lettered in 3 sports. I mean, I was, all-American kid. Went away to James Madison University and never really had any solid boundaries. I just wanted to keep pushing the envelope and exploring. I was able to get a really good job first thing out of school, and then move on to other good jobs, and I would lose good jobs because of my using. I had lived in about 35 different places between 1997 and 2002, constantly getting evicted or just staying on somebody's couch, moving in, moving out, and I used to come to this neighborhood to score my drugs. This is where I found what I wanted. I was talking to the family that the house where I would get high in, and they were like, "Why don't you just move in?" Oddly enough, at the time, it just seemed like it made sense. Why bother coming in 2, 3, 4 times a day to come cop drugs when I could just live in the house where it was all going down? And then it just became a daily hustle, stealing and doing whatever I had to do. In 2002, the summer of 2002, I got locked up for the last time, and I heard about the Helping Up mission from my cellmate, and he was so adamant about setting his life straight and going to the mission, and we talked about it, and he shared some information about it, and so when I got released in October of 2002, I had every intention of going straight to the mission to get help, and I didn't. I came back down here again. And there's a certain strange comfort in this land of the ghetto that nobody cares about where anybody comes from. Nobody cares about your past. Nobody cares about your education. Nobody cares about the color of your skin. It's a survival game. And finally, after one last night of crazy cocaine-induced paranoia and rats trying to eat at my skull or whatever, the next day I had enough, and I finally walked to the mission. And the whole way there, I remember I was trying to find another option, thinking of anything, anybody, who could I call, where could I go, anything other than, walking into a mission and saying, I'm 37 years old and I can't manage my own life. And it was a struggle. It was a struggle to come back to the existence that I had become so comfortable with. And day in and day out, I would sit there and think about it, and I wanted to leave every day to come back to this. It's kind of surreal. It's to think that one could become comfortable with this. Coming to the mission was that first step out of the abyss, and it took some time. I didn't have any idea what I was going to do, but I knew I was happy for the first time in my life. I was really happy, and I was working for Gary as a resident in the program and helping him to help guys, and I found a lot of joy in it. He asked me if I had any plans when I graduated, and I think he knew very well I did not. And he said, how about sticking around and becoming an intern and staying here? And it was exactly what I wanted. But he had, and he had seen something in me all along, I guess, that I had never really known or seen about myself. And it was in '07 that I finally met Rebecca. I was happy. I was doing God's work. I was doing great things and feeling very fulfilled in very many ways, but there was still an empty side in me. But when I met Rebecca, I knew right away she was the one. and we got married fairly shortly thereafter, and then bought this house, and the whole thing has just kind of been surreal. Sometimes I'll come out here on a clear night, and I'll just sit out here and think about how blessed my life has become. The stark differences between sitting out here on my deck with my dog and knowing I have my beautiful, wonderful wife inside, and everything is so perfect. And not so long ago, nothing was perfect.
He was just so open about it, and it made me feel like he accepted what had happened and he was okay with it. And I think that just, I mean, that shows what a strong person he is. First, to have been able to go through all of this, to pull himself out of this, this basically abandoned house where, I mean, no person should be living, and then to, be in jail and go through all of these horrible experiences, and then, walk down the street and go to the mission and start a new life. It's an incredible story.
So my story is not unique. I've been at the mission for almost 9 years now, and there's 100 or over 100 guys graduating today that have found that hope, and they will move on with their lives, and it's not the end. It's more of a celebration than a graduation. They need to move forward from here, but they can move on and reclaim their lives and move on to do amazing and wonderful things. We see it every year.